just going to hear skittering throughout the episode. The cat's on a tear. Anyway, how you doing?
Eh.
Eh?
Eh.
Eh?
Eh.
Eh. Yeah, I'm pretty freaking exhausted myself. After we're done, I'm going to go take a nap, which is a rare thing for me. In fact, it used to really make my mother mad because when I was little, I stopped napping at a very young age. And I would take, if I did take naps and they were very short, I would stay up really late, which is still a problem. I don't know why I seem to hate sleep because I really need it. But my body's like, nope. But I'm going to try because this is bad. It's one of the worst it's been in a while. Yeah. I'm very, very sleep deprived.
I haven't been sleeping as well just because Shelby's been on vacation for the past couple weeks. And, before Shelby, I always had June, our old dog, to snuggle with in bed.
She's like a weighted blanket.
And then there was like a small overlap between June passing
and Shelby moving in.
Yeah. And so I haven't not had someone in my bed for 15 years.
This sounds like such a thing like a player would say. I haven't had it.
You can't even say it.
I can't. My bed is always full.
No.
I never sleep alone. You know what? I didn't think about it. I should have given you my gigantic red panda.
I mean, that's not as helpful.
I kind of love it because it's I feel like it's bigger than an actual red panda.
It probably is.
It looks like it's bigger than a red panda, like a real one.
It's less ferocious, though.
Definitely. Because red pandas are super ferocious. Actually, I've been debating what I'm going to do for the total solar eclipse because we're in the path of totality, as you know. And I know the zoo's having events that day and such. And I was thinking about walking over there and just hanging out with the red pandas because I've heard that animals get kind of weird around the eclipse. And so I was like, well, I want to see what the red pandas are going to do, but if it's really crowded, I'll probably just walk home.
It's probably because it's eerie lighting in the middle of the day.
Yeah. I'm really really curious about it. I wish I could kind of predict because honestly, it sounds like such an interesting experience, and I'd really like to just have silence around me and experience it, But my fear of going to the zoo is there's going to be kids yelling and,
I feel like I could probably tell you a quieter area of the zoo, but I can't think of one.
Well, my plan was to go over earlier on and sort of walk around and see what they have going on and just getting a feel for how crowded it is. And then if it's pretty crowded, then, I'll just walk home and,
There's the back area of the aquarium or the one side of the primate forest that don't really have a lot of people.
Yeah, that's usually pretty deserted.
That's next to the aviary food place.
Yeah. Actually, the red panda area usually isn't that crowded. The only problem is it's right next to the splash pad.
Yeah.
But it's probably not going to be very...
Maybe the kids will get quiet too.
Ooh, what's going on? I think... But it's probably not going to be warm enough that, the splash pad is going to be filled with...
I don't think they're probably not going to be opening the splash pad until it's consistently warm.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, I'm really curious how this is all going to pan out because, the mayor and other city officials and everything are just be prepared. It's going to be crowded, because we're in the path of totality.
Yeah, I'm guessing that sounds like some kind of
apocalypse thing.
Yeah, the path of totality. I don't know. I think it's cool, but also like for me. I don't really care that much. I'm just gonna work on it. And I'm probably gonna be working downtown, which is gonna be super flooded with traffic. So
Yeah.
I might
Oh no, I have it on Do Not Disturb. What the heck? Anyway, sorry.
so yeah.
Yeah, I can see that because I can see how like being like near the river would be kind of cool. Plus, there's not a lot of trees blocking your view, and that kind of stuff. So I
And
did.
a lot of rooftop
Oh,
places.
sure, yeah. There's probably like rooftop restaurants hosting.
It
Like,
wouldn't surprise me
viewing
if someone
parties.
rented out the baseball stadium too.
Oh, well, actually, the Mud Hens opening weekend is happening as we're recording this. So I don't know if they'll even have a game that night, maybe have like a pregame thing or something. I don't know. I really don't know what's going to go on. But yeah, at first I was like, I don't care. Like, whatever. It's an eclipse. But then I was talking with a friend of mine who is like a traveler and she's really into all kinds of different things. She's a very interesting individual, and she was like, oh my gosh, I'm traveling to Texas to be like in the path of totality. And I was like, oh, and then she was telling me, there's like, oh, this happens and animals get real quiet and the air gets like this, and I'm like, okay, well, now you made it sound really cool. Now I want to do it. So because I mean, really at first I was just kind of like, okay, well, an eclipse, woo, but probably because I've only seen partial ones. So
I'll probably end up watching a bunch of science videos on it, but actually experiencing it myself doesn't really interest me that much.
yeah, it's kind of funny because your dad is traveling out of town, out of the path of totality on the day. So he's like, this is what? It's like actually going through our place. We don't have to even move. Just walk outside when it happens.
I just wish that since we knew it was going to be really busy in downtown, that I would make time and a half. That would be nice.
That would be nice. Maybe you'll get like a ton of tips though if people are just like popping in to get coffee while they're walking around.
I'll probably make a lot of money for sure. But
Yeah.
I mean, time and a half is always more money, so I'll take that.
I mean, sure, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's interesting. That'll be cool. I wanted to talk about something. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we, the last episode we published before this one was about how to ask a good question. I was waiting for you to be like, but okay.
Trying to be a good listener. Jeez.
And I felt like it was one of our better episodes. I really enjoyed it. I feel like it was high energy, really interesting conversation. We had a lot of laughter. I felt like it was really good. And it was also a really interesting question,
Uh-huh.
Huh?
I said, haha.
So I was like, you know what? I wonder what would happen if I would boost a Facebook post. Like if I always put the YouTube link in the actual post. Like listen wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube, and I just stick the YouTube link there. I wish before boosting it, I would have just put all the links to like the major podcasting things and seen if it like made our numbers go up or something. But I don't know. I was just kind of curious what would happen, but I didn't want to spend a ton of money, and so it was just like teeny tiny little spend. Let's see what happens. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot the internet. Like,
That thing.
yeah, it was like, I forgot that people just comment on the post and don't engage with the content.
Yep.
Like all the time with like the New York Times and Washington Post and whatever, there's a newspaper article and it's like, here's the headline, and then, and people just comment on the headline. And if you've actually read the article, you're reading the comments, you're like, it is clear they didn't read the article. Like, cause they're just taking an assumption from what the headline is. Right. So like the very first comment was like, be sure to include proper punctuation. I was like, that is not, no, like 9 times out of 10, if you're asking a question, you're just saying it verbally. You know, so what should I be like? So Malcolm, comma, how was your day? Question mark. Like, it was just such a weird. And then another one was saying, don't use a lot. And it was just, I was so disappointed. Like, it was just so disappointing to me that there was, I guess I was hoping that we would reach people and have an engaging conversation in the comments about good questions, but instead it was just mostly a bunch of stuff like that, or like 2 people were like, "Don't ask questions," you know. What else? What else was there? There was one person who said, "Well, that's a good question," so I thought that was funny. But and then of course there was somebody who said, "There's no good or bad questions, just like there's no right or wrong questions and or whatever." And
False.
yeah, so it was such an interesting exercise for me. And I will say I did go to YouTube and see that there were a couple people who clicked through the post to go to listen.
Yeah.
And so there were a few, but it's not like, you know, any more people liked our page or liked our YouTube channel or subscribed. I mean, you know what I mean?
Doesn't
Like,
hurt to try though.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt to try, but and honestly, I did such a tiny little amount that who knows if if we decided that we were really going to invest in some sort of campaign, and I did it on a whim. So I probably could have come up with a better wording, something more engaging, or maybe had some specific
I don't
call,
think it
call
would
to
have changed
action.
anyone's comments.
Yeah, right. But that made me think of a bigger issue, which is that I just feel like everything we do in society now is reactionary and shallow.
I think that's been pretty consistent with most of life.
Well, your life. You've grown up in the internet age.
Yeah, I still feel like it was before. I guess I don't know for sure, but
Yeah, I was gonna say, how do you know?
but like that's just people just don't think through things ever. And that's not a recent thing. That's just people want to get their information out as fast as they can. And people like to be like smart about it. And the only way to appear smart about it is if you respond immediately and with something that you feel like you already know better than the people who are doing it. And I don't think that's anything new.
Yeah, that was actually one of the responses was, you ask a good question by already knowing the answer. And I said, funny enough, we said that was a bad question in the episode. Yeah, it is.
How does that even make sense?
I don't know.
Some people just don't think.
Well, and that's the thing. They didn't engage with the content at all to be able to, respond in a manner that would have felt good to us, I think.
Yeah.
But also, there was enough information, I think, in the post that could have led to a good conversation if, the kind of person who wanted to do that came across the post. But everything now with social media in particular is, I just want to leave my quippy little comment, or I want to be rude, or
that's why I
whatever.
I don't think the internet has really changed human behavior much besides smaller attention span. I think that is something that the internet has changed. But I think for the most part, the internet has just amplified everything because there's way more access to everything. So now, instead of whoever in the city you are talking to about a newspaper is talking back to you, then you'll only get their reaction. But on the internet, if you see the newspaper, or in this case an article, and then you see there are hundreds of comments,
Oh gosh, and they're usually inane.
Yeah, and so I think before there were still hundreds of people that were reacting to it the same way. It's
But
just
they had to write a letter to the editor in order to get
yeah,
their
and then
opinion
only the
known.
editor would see it and not everybody else.
Right. They would choose which ones to share and who's also going to go through that effort. You
Yeah.
know, like only certain people are going to go through that effort. I guess the equivalent before the internet would have been a couple people having a conversation about that news article and then someone walking up. What are you talking about? Oh, we're talking about the this war here, blah blah blah. Oh, well, this president's an idiot, and then walking away. You know, like it's that'd
Yeah.
probably be the equivalent. It's just that you're right. The internet has given a broader stage for that stuff to happen, for more people all at once. But I also wonder if that, as a whole, just if that's going to kind of degrade conversation as a whole, like even outside of that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like kind of make that the norm for good conversation. And so maybe good conversation won't, like eventually it just won't, it'll be less and less common even outside of that space. I don't know if I formed my question properly.
I didn't track
which
it.
which is funny given the last episode. Like, will the effects of the internet spill into offline life? Basically,
I mean, probably to some degree, but I think for some people it matures people, and for some people it immatures people.
that's probably true.
Because I think some people see that and are just like, why would I want to be like that?
True.
And then other people see that and are like, ha, I'm going to do that now.
I mean, there always have been people who just like to mess with people no matter what.
I think the true effects of the internet we're going to see because I'm technically Gen Z, but I'm like on the edge. And I think
I'm on the edge.
I think it'll mostly be the like main group of Gen Z that has like truly grown up only on the internet.
Oh, right.
That we're going to see the actual effects of the internet on our society through. Because already, you know, a lot of those immature comments and stuff like that are going to be from kids or teenagers or whatever that don't know what they're talking about. They just think that they have some little bit of information that everyone else doesn't have, and so then they comment.
Well, unfortunately, there's a lot of adults that don't grow out of that. I mean, just
Oh,
go to any
no.
political post and you'll see, and they love to spread the conspiracy theories that they hear from people who are saying those conspiracy theories to make money. And then, you know, their audience believes it, and then they go and they post and they go, well, this politician is actually drinking the blood of children, you know, and it's worthless commenting. It's not a true thing, and it just degrades the conversation overall. I guess I don't understand why comment on something if it's not going to somehow add to the conversation in a meaningful way. And the meaningful doesn't even necessarily have to be like glowingly positive. You know, it could be corrective. Like, hey, I don't know if you realize this, but you just used a racist slur. Maybe you might want to think about rewording this, or, you know, that's not going in and being like, hey, good job, pal. You know?
Yeah.
But it's also not just coming on and being like, you're a dick.
But then the problem is if you want to fight something on the internet too, you don't actually make it better. Because as soon as you comment on someone's thing, it suddenly boosts their comment or post
Yeah,
or
that's true.
whatever it is and makes it more accessible to other people.
That's true.
And so it's just like a lose-lose situation. And so the best thing is just to report things.
But that honestly feels like a losing battle too. It's like, you know,
I've gotten plenty of people banned from things from being stupid or
good for you.
assholes.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I guess it just makes me sad. I don't know why it made me so sad. It was just, I guess I had these silly hopes that, oh, we could have a really cool conversation about questions. And, I think part of it, is because this was also happening at the same time that I was reading a couple different people posted this thing about being an artist nowadays and how it used to be that if you just kind of plugged away at your art and, made connections in a natural way, you could like kind of find your audience. And now it's like, well, you have to have all these social media pages and you have to like be a self promoter and you have to do this. And so it's like, you can't just be an artist. You also have to be like an influencer.
Yep.
And I feel like there's a certain extent to that with us too. I mean, we were just like, this would be fun. And if people listen, cool. But if we wanted to grow this, we would constantly be on the hunt for content.
There's so much non-profit work that would need to be done until you can actually make a profit.
Right. And also it's I gotta wonder what the percentage is of people who have any kind of significant following can live off of that money. I mean, Mr. Beast is the exception, right? Like he is exceptional. Like he's just ridiculous. For every, for I was gonna say for every Mr. Beast. Well, I guess for every Mr. Beast, there's thousands of people who can't get by on, they can't get their videos noticed or whatever.
Yep.
And just the idea, and I've considered this a lot of different times. I've thought, well, it'd be cool if our podcast got popular and we could just make a living doing this, and then we could add this and add that. And the work that's needed to make that happen just sounds exhausting because it's like we would have to constantly look at our lives in terms of content.
Yep.
And that was something that occurred to me when I was watching. I like this one couple's content, and they recently shared a pregnancy announcement, and it I was like, wow, that's so personal. Like it was so personal. They recorded the part where she took the pregnancy test and the moment she found out, so it wasn't.
I wouldn't even be thinking about that.
Yeah. See, me neither. But they did. And I just thought, I don't think I want to live my life that way.
I mean, some people do, some people don't. Some people just, announce it later.
Yeah, and that was what another couple I follow did. In fact, it was so funny because they sort of just casually dropped it in a video, and I don't know if they intended to do that or not, but it was just like in the middle of a conversation, she was like, well, and since I'm pregnant, I can't blah, blah, blah. And there were like so many comments that were like, sorry, what now? But and I have to admit, I enjoy the like couple and family things where it's kind of like we get little glimpses into their lives and stuff. But I don't know. I guess I'm just not the type of person who's cut out to make that my living, let's say.
Yeah.
Like me, I can do a thing here or there, and I can talk with you once a week and we can post it. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I do not. It's kind of funny because I want to say I do not want to live my life on the internet, but I also play so many video games.
Well, okay. I think there's a difference between live your life on the internet and being on the internet a lot.
I guess that's fair.
Like to me, living your life on the internet is like it's on display.
Yeah.
So it's like the internet equivalent of being in a reality TV show. You know? So, yeah, I don't know. I guess the whole thing, like this whole sort of artificial thing we have with social media is just sort of bumming me out because it's just like, it's so fake. And, you know, and the people who want someone to, you know, to see their art or get their comedy, like a lot of comedians are getting attention this way now. You know, they have to do all these things to kind of stay in front of people. And it's not even like, oh, it's good enough to create good videos, because then the algorithm comes into play.
Yeah.
You know, and the algorithm, it really, like, I've seen so many creators be like, okay, so now TikTok tweaked its algorithm and now it's doing this. And like, and there was like one point I was like, I haven't seen this creator in a while. And then I went to their page and they did a video on like how they're like, I don't understand why all of a sudden my videos are like, the views are down. And like, you know, and there was one time I went on
It's
TikTok.
because TikTok is horrible. TikTok is one of the worst apps out there, but everyone uses it.
Right.
But it's such a toxic app.
It is. I think they run it terribly. I love a lot of the videos on there. I like the creators I follow. I'm going to see if any of them have YouTube channels in case they just get off of TikTok or TikTok goes away. But
I hope TikTok goes away.
But it, one time I opened it and it had been at least a day since I had opened it. It may have been more. And I flipped through on my following page. I flipped through 5 videos and it said, you're all caught up. And I was like, I am definitely not all caught up. You know what I mean? I'm like, I am sure that the people I follow have done more than 5 videos amongst all of them in the last 24 hours. And so then I started going and picking random people I follow and seeing, and like some of them had done like 3 videos. And I was just like, what the hell? What the hell, TikTok? Like, what?
Have you seen the TikTok hates hard work from Dan Povenmire?
Dan, yeah. Yes, I did. Yeah. I mean, and he's right. Anyway.
Because there are people that live their entire lives on social media, and some of that is on TikTok, and then they'll suddenly just get cut out by TikTok out of nowhere.
It's weird. And nobody really knows why and like what happens, like why it changes its algorithm.
Because their algorithm is shit. Like it's probably just not built well at all to any capacity, but people still go on it because the people that they like are on it.
Yeah. Well,
and the thing I really don't understand about that stuff is that like 99% of the time it's on YouTube as well. And YouTube is such an amazing platform, at least in comparison to TikTok, that I don't understand why people don't just go on YouTube.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm doing. I'm now moving and looking through my things and going, okay, is this person on YouTube? Is this person on YouTube? Or they might do Instagram Reels or something.
Yeah, because TikTok as well doesn't like anything being used of theirs externally. So you can't watch, like when you send someone a link, even though it shows you that there's a video on the link, you can't press the video.
I've been able to do that.
A lot of things don't let you do it.
I have TikTok. Never mind.
No, but like, I mean, if you click the video itself, it's not that it does, if it doesn't take you to TikTok, it doesn't let you watch it. Or if it takes you to the website of TikTok, the website of TikTok is also crap, and it wants you to get the app. Yeah,
it's weird. Yeah.
Everything just wants you to get the app of TikTok to make them money.
Right. Yeah.
So it's honestly TikTok. I'm pretty sure TikTok started off as a scam, and I'm pretty sure it's still kind of a scam. But people use it, so.
Well, they're now the Congress is now trying to outlaw it because it's owned by a Chinese company and they think they're spying on us.
I mean, I think that's a little absurd, but I'm fine if they ban TikTok. The
funny thing is,
it also just steals so many people's lives. Like people will just sit on it for hours on end, just staring at TikTok.
I mean, to be fair, they'll do that on other apps too. But
I really don't. it bores me to all hell to be doing stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is your dad said he read a thing about TikTok, and he was saying that the I forget what the Chinese version of it is called. It's not called TikTok. It's called something else. But he said that their algorithm is so different from ours, and that they get their videos are more so like, here's an educational thing. Like it's all about
it's all about science and well, actually, it's just all educational
improving
stuff,
your
like
knowledge and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And we get,
people dancing in a random fucking room.
and like pranks and stuff
Some of
like
that also just speaks to America.
I mean, that's the thing. I was like, okay, so then is that the algorithm because that's what Americans want, or was that like he was like he's I think he said like the author was insinuating like this was a way like China was trying to like keep Americans dumb. And I was like, I don't know. Like on one hand, I'm like, that sounds kind of ridiculous, but on the other hand, I'm like, I don't know. Russia did a whole misinformation campaign during the 2016 election.
It's
so
one of I would say when I don't entirely like the phrase knowledge is power, but to a certain extent it is correct. And a lot of campaigns that have been done between countries to essentially cut off a level of education from another country have always been successful.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And TikTok just sucks so many people in to stare at their phone for 3 hours watching dumb videos about stuff all the time.
Speaking
and dumb trends too, like people stealing Kias or people stealing urinals. It's always dumb, stupid trends.
Crime trends.
No, literally.
Jeez.
Like graffiti on things, stealing things. Like that's why there was so many stolen. I'm pretty sure it was Kias. There were so many stolen Kias because there was a popular TikTok video of someone showing how all you have to do is plug in a USB into the car in a certain spot and it'll start the car and you can drive it.
Oh my.
Yep.
Wow.
And it actually happened to one of my coworkers, and the person drove it into a street lamp, I believe.
Oh no.
And then stole a bunch of stuff out of her back seat. And yep.
That sucks. Oh geez. Oh my God. I feel like that, like they would track down that user if possible, and I don't know, whatever.
Well, it doesn't matter because then a bunch of people record themselves doing it.
Which is dumb. Like,
and then go and
let me record myself doing a crime.
It happens all the time.
Yeah, it does. The amount of people who record themselves doing things that are, it's kind of
incriminating.
Funny. Yeah. The thing I've noticed strangely though on Facebook lately is, so like, what kind of annoys me is if a friend of mine posts a video and I go to watch it, then it immediately starts playing other videos. And I'm like, no, I just wanted to watch this one video that my friend posted. I don't want to get into this pattern of videos, right? Mm-hmm. Or sometimes they have the ones like that kind of just show up in the feed or whatever. And I'm like the little pause thumbnail is I'm like, well, what's that? And the video is like nothing. It's I've never seen this before, and all of a sudden I'm seeing so many of these. It's like someone I can't even think of one. Like someone is holding a plate and maybe they like wave their hand over it and you think like, oh, what are they going to do? Is it going to be a pretend magic trick or something? And then they put the plate down and the video ends. And you're like, what was the point of that?
Views.
But like, what?
It's all a scam. Like everything is just a scam with that stuff. Like the YouTube channel that I always see recommended to me, even though I never watch any of their videos because I know it's a scam, still pop up.
Screen Rant?
Screen Culture.
Screen Culture. Yes. They make
Screen Rant is an actual YouTube channel. Screen Culture makes fake trailers.
Yeah, the fake trailer. I hate that. Yeah, you know what? I actually eventually blocked them or whatever you could do on YouTube.
I didn't even know you could do that, so I might have to do that. I also don't watch much YouTube, so, but I always see them because I always watch the new trailers because some of the only notifications I have turned on for YouTube are for certain entertainment companies that will release trailers for stuff I might
and they're the
actually
legit
watch.
trailers.
Yeah.
No, it was on my home page. I don't think it was like a blocking, but I think there was, you could click on something and it said like, don't show this on my homepage anymore or something like that.
Gotcha.
From this channel.
Yeah, it still gets
And they still get a ton
hundreds
of
of
views.
thousands of viewers because some people also just don't pay attention. There is a certain level of like people not paying attention that I do not understand as well. Because I've got a feeling that so many people that watch that stuff click it the same time over and over again, always assuming it's going to be another trailer. And then either they believe it, which is extra stupid, but
It's not just stupid, it's extra stupid.
it is extra stupid. But also it's like you must have not been paying attention to the name that you keep clicking on the same people every single time. I know it's well done as well because they clearly get enough viewers that they can make enough money to make the trailers over and over again.
And that's one of the things I hate. It's like one of the things that annoys me about society. I hate it. I hate that.
That's why
people can just make money off of being predatory in that way.
That's why like the whole arguments for or some arguments for like the freedom of speech stuff annoy me so much because I'm like, but there are just some truly like things that will hurt us as a society that you need to shut up.
Oh, I know.
But then the problem is that the people that will get in charge of that stuff will then start shutting up people that are telling true things about.
I know.
And so then it's just like a whole because like freedom of speech, I agree to a certain extent.
Right.
Like the freedom of consistently making the same incorrect and like spreading misinformation is insane. Like I feel like if there was almost like a not a contingency, but like a if it's misinformation, then this just doesn't apply to you.
So here's something interesting I observed over the last several election cycles. So when at some point before Mitt Romney was one of the political, I keep wanting to say contestants because I can't think of the word, running for president, the Republican Party was going on and on about how this postmodern thinking, this moral relativism and everything was going to destroy our country because we were no longer...
How dare we evolve our thinking?
Well, we were no longer concerned about truth. Truth didn't matter anymore. Why do we care about truth? We don't care enough about truth. And they were presenting themselves as the guardians of that, right? Then we get to the Romney-Ryan-Obama election, and Romney and Ryan launch an attack on fact checkers. And
I do remember that.
And they start going, well, we don't need fact checkers, blah, 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 blah. And they start this thing that, and before that, sites like Snopes and, things that were debunking things were really relatively non-political sites. People used them on both sides to go, oh, this is or is not true. And they started going, well, fact checkers, they're terrible. So first we got them.
How do you even do that? How do you even turn that on fact checkers?
A lot of rhetoric, and you get people to repeat it, and you get places like Fox News and OAN and Newsmax to repeat it to people who that's their only source of news, and they hear it repeated enough, and then they begin to believe it. And so then I started to notice, like in like Facebook posts and stuff like that, somebody would be like, this isn't true, and put a Snopes link, and somebody like, Snopes, that left wing, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what?
And we still get that.
But I started to see that, I was like, okay. Then you get the Clinton-Trump election, and Trump just throws truth out the window. He just says whatever the heck he wants to say, whenever he wants to say it. He changes whatever, like he says one thing, then he says he never said it, and then he says another thing. He just flat out lies. But then again, he has political pundits from news stations and then other people just holding him up because, the very people who ran against him then flip and go, I support Trump just because they want Republicans in power. And they go, oh yeah, this guy's great. And they don't hold him to account. So he just flat out lies, and then they come up with the alternative facts thing. And so do you remember the inauguration when he said he had the biggest inauguration crowd ever? Mm-hmm. And it was just an obvious lie, and we had photos to show. And Sean Spicer, his communications guy, was like, nope, that's just a lie. Nope, it's not, like, and then Kellyanne Conway was like, well, what we're presenting to you is a series of alternative facts. And then like that became like throughout Trump's campaign, and then at the beginning of his presidency, that all became like a weirdly acceptable thing all of a sudden. So we went from moral relativism and postmodern relativism and postmodern thought, like all these things, this lack of truth is going to ruin our country, to we have our own set of facts and we are entitled to them.
The thing that I hate about that, as well as the hypocrisy of it, because everyone will be like, oh, well, Biden should have known better than to make this claim about this thing. Mm-hmm. And it's like, sure. But then what about the time that Trump said this thing? Oh, well, there is some like really tiny possible science facts behind that being the truth. And so even though he didn't know the full story about it, he still could have just thought about that one thing and made an assumption off of that. Well, he should have fucking known better.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, I don't follow politics at all. And so I think for me, that's the thing that bothers me the most, because I don't like either of them. I don't like any of the candidates because they're all terrible. Mm-hmm. But I think the thing that annoys me the most between the Biden and Trump thing is that so many Trump supporters will say something about Biden, and then if you throw it back at Trump, they'll be like, oh, but no.
Oh, yeah. There's a great Jordan Klepper interview where a woman does that like in real time. Yeah. Like, absolutely.
Oh, no.
About
I've seen
the same
plenty
exact
of those
thing.
videos.
Yeah. I saw someone sum it up pretty well, and I'm not going to get the exact details right, but they were like, saying there's two bad choices in this election is not the right, is not exactly the right thing to say. He's like, one is like kind of like, it's like choosing between like for lunch, like a disappointing ham sandwich and a pile of shit with glass shards in it. He's like, there's no choice there. So, and that's what frustrates me about this. And I get that it is so frustrating that the Democratic Party cannot get its shit together and have chosen someone without shards, and could have chosen someone better than Biden in the first place, and could have done something to replace him moving forward.
It'd be nice if either party did that for either of their current candidates.
Every party just messes that stuff up all the time. But it just frustrates me when people are like, well, I'm just not even going to vote. And I'm like, what?
I remember what one of them was. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember that, a lot of people were blaming Trump for something. And then they were like, no, it started while Obama was president, and then Trump just had to clean it up while he was president. But then, they started saying something similar about Biden, and everyone was like, no, it started with Trump and then led into Biden's presidency. And they're like, no. Biden should have been able to fix this
the funny
before. And I'm like, are you
they blamed
kidding me?
Obama for a stimulus package that went through before he was president, which I find hilarious.
That stuff happens all the time, and I don't understand.
Yeah.
One thing that was very interesting, though, was the new X-Men 97 series had a whole courtroom thing about mutants and everything like that. And then they had a bunch of mutant haters break into the courthouse. And it was definitely a recreation of January 6th. Yeah.
That is the one that gets me. I mean, that should have been the final, like, and actually that day, a lot of Republican politicians were like, this is ridiculous. This shouldn't have ever happened. This, and then like 2 weeks later, they're like, everything's fine, but if it was, Democrats doing it, they would have been like, see, the lawless Democrats are at it again. But anyway.
Yeah.
Whew. All right. So, yeah. That was a winding trail. I don't even know how to end.
Be careful what you read on the internet.
Yeah. Okay. We'll start there. Yeah. Be careful what you read on the internet. Try to have some in-depth conversations, please.
Yes. Try to actually find your information instead of just assuming the information.
Yes. And fact checkers are good.
Yeah, how have we ever strayed from that? I don't.
It's just been so entertaining. The lack of truth is going to destroy America. They were right.
Yeah, they're the ones who fucking started it.
So, enjoy our dying democracy. Bye. See you later.
Well,
Oh, it's time to go.